Please can you make a video, Tom, on the best 5-day training split? How many sets do we need to grow with the main lifts? Thanks, dude. So if you ever have any questions that you want to fire into me, just comment on any of the videos and I will go through. If you think it'd be useful actually for me to just put out community posts and then you respond to them with those questions that you have, I'll make YouTube videos and answer your question. I appreciate there is a big bank of them for me to get through and I will start to work through them. Because it's nice to make content on the exact questions that the members within our YouTube community here are asking. So feel free, always drop a question. Most likely, if it's a decent one, not just you is thinking that question and someone else will benefit from it. So thanks for taking the time to write this in. Let's get into the video and answer his question. So we want to know, what is the best 5-day training split for you? Now, in context, what determines the best? I'm going to break down into 3 sections within this video. And I just thought I'd start off with a photo, actually. This was taken at the weekend where we run our first, well, technically second Gorilla Platoon photo shoot in the UK, where I actually got shredded for it myself. And I thought I'd put these 2 photos together because this was when I did a photo shoot on my very first one, or like a day beforehand anyway. And this was 72 kg, and on the weekend I was 74. So we can see I've added a nice 2 kg of muscle, like pure lean muscle, over the course of, what would that have been now? Like 2.5 years or so. And that's, just a side point. You think, 2 kg of muscle, fuck all. And yeah, maybe. But if you look what 2 kg of muscle actually gives you on the frame, you can actually see it. Like, you think, 2 kg of just pure lean muscle is actually quite a lot. So although it doesn't sound like a lot, what the impact and how you look is infinitely better. And what I'm able to chest press now, let's say at the back end of a cut, what am I chest pressing? More like the 48s or even 46s. Here I was getting like the 30s at best. So it equates to a fair amount of difference. So if you're new to the channel, by the way, welcome. My name is Tom Sergi. I run the Gorilla Platoon, which is an online physique transformation program. And we talk about our results here on YouTube. So we are going to go into the video. I've broken this down into 3 categories so you can work out which one is for you. We've got the you just need more muscle everywhere approach. This was me in 2022. We've got the you look like an athlete, but you want to look more masculine. And that to me is capped ass delts, decent sized arms. You can't see my lats because it's a photo from the back, but you haven't really got the thickest of upper line here, and no traps. Traps absolutely down for me, boys. And then the third option is you are yoked as fuck. This was me in 2020. I literally just done push-pull legs twice a week, heavy ass deadlifts, heavy ass squats, followed fucking Jeff Nippard's program, just like max power building. And then I looked like a fridge where I had literally no arms. And that's probably with an arm pump right there. But was thick in the upper line here. So which one you fall into, I'll give you a solution for each one. So let's start off with you just need more muscle everywhere. And your goal as a man realistically is to add more to the upper frame, but also not to neglect the legs as well. This is the training split I have personally run for many years, and I would also tell you to run. So we'll go to it now. The split is a 5-day split. They're all 5-day splits that you're going to run with. You've got push-pull legs. Then you have a rest day. Then you run upper 1, which is going to be chest and back. And then you have another rest day and run upper 2, which is going to be arms and delts. The key factor, I believe, in this split is the fact that we give arms and delts its own fresh training day. Because sure, we can do them at the back end of the push and pull, but that's realistically what I was doing in the end photo where I was fairly yoked but small arms. Honestly, if you don't naturally and genetically have good arms, I really don't, and I will make it my mission to have a good set of arms. Trust me when I fucking say this, and I'll come on to what split I ran this year to really dial that in. You're going to need to give them their own day. You're going to need to train them fresh, heavy-ass barbell curls to begin with at the start of the session, like some form of very good tricep exercise that hits them in the lengthened position on a fresh day, not just hitting them when you're fatigued, when you've already blasted your chest and your back. In terms of sets per muscle group per week, the split here is going to allow you to pretty much max out all the amount of volume that you require, still with a good amount of rest days. Now, leg day, you do only have 1 leg day on this. And from experience, 2 leg days does not yield the best result. Unless you simply have chicken legs, then fine. I didn't do an example for this, but let's say you had good arms and smaller legs, you just drop the arms and you'd run a second leg day there. I have someone on a split like this. But if you've got like fairly decent sized legs already and they respond quite nicely, one leg day is absolutely enough. So that way we get to hit our chest twice a week with an adequate amount of volume, back twice a week with an adequate amount of volume, arms twice a week, and then your legs, you get hit once. So this is the split I'd run on the push day. You're thinking chest, you did your delts and your triceps. Pec deck first, hit the muscle in the shortened position for 3 seconds. Just dial in your tempo, boys. Slow on the way down, pause at the bottom. The time it'll take to contract will be slower on the way up, so about 2 seconds, and then a 2 second pause at the top. You're then going to do a heavy loadable exercise, incline dumbbell press, and then some form of a machine press after that. The difference between dumbbell and machine is one will hit the muscle in the lengthen, the other will hit it in the shorten and keep the tension on. Shoulder press machine off the back of that, tricep dips, dumbbell lateral raises, or you could do a cable if you've got the option, and then some crossbody cable tricep extension. If dips aggravate your shoulder, go for an overhead version of this. Then we move on to the pull day. So here we're going to absolutely blast your back and get that to grow. This is something I found I connect quite well with the back and pulling movements versus pushing. Single arm pull down really captures that lat. Chest supported T-bar are an absolute holy grail. It needs to be in anyone and everyone's split because most people are just weak across the upper trap, the rhomboid area, and just supporting that chest and only using the working muscle to get it to grow. Like everyone needs to dial that in and do that twice per week 100%. Lat pull down, dumbbell hammer curls, rear delt flies, and incline dumbbell bicep curl. See how here they're towards the end of the session, so you're going to be a little bit more fatigued. Leg day that I like to run, leg extension, line hamstring curl first, plenty of blood into the tissue, and also hit the muscle where you're weaker in the short position. Load up a nice juicy leg press. Or if you get a little bit more advanced, you can run something like a hack squat or a Smith machine back squat where you're going to get deeper into the squat, more knee bend, more challenge on the quads. Or you can do a dumbbell split squat. I like the Bulgarian version of this for the same reason I just spoke about here. Elevate one leg, and then that way you can fully close that knee joint up off the front quad. Calf raise, and then some ab crunch. After your rest day, and you want to blast 3 sessions, then run a rest day, because otherwise if you try to go for a fourth, like, you think about it, would you be better if you just ran a fresh day and then went into it? More than likely. So don't run it as like 5 days straight and 2 rest days unless you like, again, it'll just come down to your schedule. Run it with a rest day midweek and then hit 2 and then 1 on the weekend. Chest and back is a flavour of push and pull really. Pec deck, flat dumbbell, incline machine. 3 very good exercises. Then you're into pull-ups or lat pull down if you're not strong enough for pull-ups. Single arm lower lat row and rear delt flies. And the delts and arms, you're into dips, shoulder press, preacher curl, lateral raises, standing cable, push down, cable lateral raises, and decline ab crunch. This is the split I've ran for a good solid year straight, and it just I generally found just got thicker everywhere. Like it's probably one of the holy grails of training splits. If you just need more muscle everywhere, which in this example here, I just needed more muscle everywhere. Like no ifs, buts, or maybes. Now let's come on to the next training split. To be honest, this is probably more of my favorite look. I like this look where like your arms and your delts look really like thick, and then you're still quite, obviously you're shredded, but you're not that thick across the upper line. I actually don't mind that so much. I mean, to be honest, I'm just going to keep training everything forever and just keep growing everything because I just love progress. But like, I like this look. This is like athlete look. This is like you could pivot from anything. You could be in bodybuilding. You could go into like any form of sport, boxing, and you just look decent. Like with a good set of arms and delts, I feel like that's like the holy grail for a male. So I actually really like this look. But let's say you want to just look more thick. You want to look more proper across the top, and you want to improve on that. This is the split I would run with. So what I'm going to do for this one as well, I'm going to assume your legs are also not that strong. So like you're not that thick in like your back chest or your quads or your hamstrings. So we just need to globally turn you into more of a tree trunk, but you've got a good set of arms, and I've got members that are like this, hence we've got this split as available. So the push is very similar to the one we've just been through there. Then we've got the pull session here, very similar to the one we've just spoke about then. Legs, again, very similar, but you want to be RDLing because we want to really add some density to the overall posterior chain. So you're talking all the way from the traps, the lats, the erector spinae, the glutes, and the hamstring. Overall global improvement with that. Starting with 2 sets, Nail that first, get the movement pattern right, and always remember with an RDL, it's a hip hinge movement. So don't think about you coming down with the bar. Think more, you want to push your hips backwards, and by pushing your hips backwards, your chest, because your spine is one straight plank of wood, naturally has to come forwards. As a result of the chest coming forwards, the bar has come down. Straighten yourself back up, drive it from the hip joint, boom, and straighten yourself back out from there. Split squat again, so we've got leg press, split squat, and RDL, big meaty session. Chest and back then, flavour of the push and pull. And then legs 2, again, some form of a squat with more knee flexion. RDL in there again, leg extension, lying hamstring curl. So this is what I'd be running with. Notice how you're only going to hit your arms after you push and you pull, but you've already got a good thick set of arms, so it's not your massive issue with that. You can, if you want to, stick like a little bit of delts maybe on the back end of one of the sessions, but I'm assuming for like you're looking more like this, but your legs are smaller. Let's say you haven't got a chest or a back, but you've got a decent set of delts and a decent like bicep and tricep on you, and you want to thicken out there and just look more yoked. Now, let's come on to the last split. This was the one I ran this year to really like thicken out my weaker areas with my arms and chest. But let's say it's your delts and your arms and maybe like one other muscle group, but you could call it your chest or your back, that you needed to bring those areas up. So this is the split I've run for maybe about the last 6-7 months or so. So for me, after like thickening up everywhere, I realized, right, what would bring me the best happiness if I was to improve that on my physique. And personally, the weaker areas of my physique have always been my chest and arms, things that respond quite nicely on my delts, my lats, and also my upper back, and my legs. Naturally just had strong legs. Like if you look in this shot here, this is around the time that I was just like kind of powerlifting, just like lift as much as possible, eating everything and anything. Look at that fucking face. Look at that fucking breeze block of face. Obviously I'm higher body fat in this as well, remember. But the quads were big. I was like I managed to get a back squat of like 195 out in the absolute peak of it. So I just used to love squatting, deadlifting, benching, like moving heavy loads. And I was thick in the trunk, but then didn't really have any set of arms to go with it, which is surprising. Or it's not surprising, but I don't have big arms genetically anyway, so if I don't directly train them, they really don't grow, and then I end up looking more fridge-like, which I don't really like that look. I actually prefer this style of look. This photo was taken fairly recently, and obviously this one even more. So I prefer like this style of look, and actually legs like just on a minimum effective dose for me. So the split I ran with that amount of time, we ran chest in its entirety, full chest day with 3, 6, 9, 12, 14 sets on one singular day, and then a chest and back with then another, so that'd be 16, 19, 22, 25 sets of pure chest to get that pigeon to fucking fly. So chest day, flat dumbbell press, hit the muscle in the lengthen, incline machine press, hit it in the shorten as well, flat machine press, pec deck, and then some form of, I did tricep dips or some form of like decline contraction that you're going to get from the dips. If you lean right over on the dips, you can make that happen. Legs just once a week, two sets for the quads and glutes, 2 sets for the ham and glutes, single leg press, so again for the quads, leg extension, line hamstring curl, calf raise and decline ab crunch. Then it was arms and delts. So for context, it was chest, legs, arms and delts, then a rest day, then chest and back, then arms and delts again. So plenty of arms and delts, plenty of chest, once a week back, once a week legs. And that was the split I was running with, and this was the arm day. Stand and curl, overhead cable, rope push down, hammers, some form of seated elbow extension, elbow supported. I've been training some decent gyms recently, so they have like good machines that you can use for that. You probably got one of these in your gym. You come onto a pad and straighten your arms out. Standing D handle cable curl, or any form of like arm in front of the body to curl. Shoulder press machine and seated lateral raise machine. Notice how the delts is actually at the end of the arms and the bis and tris, for the reason being that my focus was the bis and tris, it wasn't my delts. My delts actually grow all right. So I put them at the back, and they're only actually getting 10 sets per week, whereas the arms is getting like a lot. Same with the legs, like I mean, you look at this as like how many's the hamstrings getting? They're getting 5 per week. The quads are getting a little bit more. They're getting 7. Calves are getting 3. Abs, we were hitting, to be fair, just once a week. Abs for me has always been like a fairly strong point as well. I've always had like pretty decent set of abs. So I've not something I've dialed in so much, or nor have I needed to. So that's the approach I would take. Generally speaking, if it's a weaker area, look at it and try and get that number of sets per week as close to 20 as you can. As a rough rule of thumb, you go a bit over, don't worry about it. But realistically, more is going to be better. Like, I know people say, "Oh, overtraining and that." Honestly, like I tried to listen to that and it didn't work for me. I find more was better, but more, and make sure the quality is still good. And how do you make sure the quality is still good? You divide it up across the week, so there's an adequate amount of time in between, so you can be effective in what you do. Of course, this is assuming for every time you train, you control the eccentric, 3, 2, 1, pause at the bottom, drive back up at the top. You take it through a full range of motion, maximize the length of the muscle that it'll go to. You nail the arm path. So if you're trying to train your chest, and this is something I really had to understand, and it got my chest to grow, to be fair. Putting these photos together, actually quite nice to see. So for context, like back here, just move this out of the way. Back here, my shoulders were a lot stronger than my chest was, and this shoulder on my left side actually is not as strong. So, no, sorry, the shoulder on where the tattoo is for the parachute regiment, that is more protracted forward ever so slightly. I've managed to improve it over the years. But notice how this pec is smaller than this one. It's always really been that way. So even though they've both grown, this one is still bigger and rounder. And notice how this delta's a bit more like developed than probably this one is as well. So, but I'm fucked basically, boys. But all jokes aside, the going back to the point of arm path, we know the chest starts here, runs across the rib cage and inserts here onto the humerus. So think of the arm path of the start and the end of the muscle. And when you're training, think, am I bringing the two together, or am I just globally moving that weight from A to B, over-engaging my shoulders at the top like I used to, and then therefore not being able to contract the working muscle? So think of that. You've got tempo, range of motion, and arm path. And then, of course, after that, intensity. How do you measure intensity? Your last rep wants to be about 3 to 4 seconds to contract the muscle. If it is, perfect. You're going to be growing week on week. And how are you going to know that? You're going to have your logbook, track it in the app or whatever it is you do. And you're going to make sure you beat that week on week on week. For our boys in the Gorilla Platoon that are inside my community, they send me their clips on a weekly basis so I can analyze those 4 points. So they're doing it and they're gaining the knowledge needed. The beautiful thing about this being online is they've got that video for the rest of their life. They can always go back and rewatch it. But then it's the accountability of intensity. And you're going to need that in the back end of a dieting phase, because calories go lower, effort like naturally wants to drop off. You're going to need that accountability to make sure, are you still training hard? Yes, good, keep fucking sending it. I know you're hungry, keep pushing through. So yeah, by the way, if you want to come join us inside the Gorilla Platoon, there'll be like links in the description. Book a call or join us through the school community. And yeah, if we're a nice fit, then come and join us and we'll get you a transformation like this. If you found this video of value, great. Leave your own comments, maybe underneath this one, on questions that you may have, and I'll make videos on it. If you think it's a fairly basic question, trust me, it isn't. Like, this channel is made for generally people to go from like the basic standard to really good condition. So if we look at where we've got the guys here, let me just move the counter out of the way. Just blow this up a tiny bit more. Yeah, so just going for your average standard, like really good condition, maybe a little bit too much body fat, peeling up, too much body fat, peeling up, or even like starting out from flat and growing some nice muscle. So that's what we do here. So there's no such thing as a basic question. Send them in and I will respond to them. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you tomorrow.